Now that the end of the year has come and gone, it's time to pay our respects to all the great celebrities who died in 2021. From Tanya Roberts to Ed Asner, join FactsVerse as we take a look at the saddest celebrity deaths of 2021. Tanya Roberts. Tanya Roberts was one of the first celebrities to pass away in 2021, with her death occurring in January. Her death came as a surprise to many. The 65-year-old star certainly didn't look as if she was about to pass away, and her cause of death was something you wouldn't normally expect to kill a person. That cause of death was a UTI, or urinary tract infection, that got out of control and developed into sepsis. Tanya rose to prominence as a sex symbol, with one of her most notable appearances during her career being as a Bond girl in the 1985 Bond film A View to a Kill. Since then, Tanya has arguably become just as well known for portraying the character of Midge on That 70s Show. Though deaths from UTIs aren't very common, they can occur in those with weakened immune systems, particularly older people. Phil Spector. Phil Spector died in January of 2021, though his death might not be the saddest. Although Spector remains one of the most legendary producers in popular music, thanks to his numerous contributions in his early career, he became a reclusive and controversial figure later in life. One main reason was he was convicted of murder. In 2009, he was convicted of a murder he had committed earlier in the decade. The victim was an actress named Lana Clarkson. The death occurred in 2003, and Phil claimed the woman had been shot in the head accidentally during some kind of twisted sex game. After a long trial, it was eventually determined that Phil was guilty of murder. Numerous women had come forward with claims the producer had threatened them with firearms after turning down his sexual advances, and the authorities determined this is what happened to Lana. Long before becoming a convicted murderer and passing away, Spector was one of the most sought-after producers in all of popular music. Phil produced numerous hits during the 60s, with some of the notable artists he worked for including George Harrison and the Beach Boys. He had long since succumbed to drugs and alcohol by the time of the crime that landed him in prison. He had essentially retired from music in the 90s, and few people had heard from him before he began making headlines in the 2000s due to the murder. He passed away of natural causes while serving his sentence in California. Larry King. Larry King passed away in January of 2021. He was 87 years old at the time, and like Tanya Roberts, died of sepsis. He'd been hospitalized for COVID-19 and ended up getting particularly affected by the infection due to his respiratory symptoms. Many people had speculated on the announcement of Larry's death that the beloved television host had died of COVID, but this wasn't technically the case. Of course, Larry was best known as the host of Larry King Live, which he hosted for well over 2 decades on CNN from 1985 to 2010. Cloris Leachman. Cloris Leachman passed away in January 2021. Many people knew Cloris best for her time on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. The actress was 94 years old at the time of her death and passed away due to a stroke. Cloris also had some notable films during her career, including turns in The Last Picture Show and Young Frankenstein. Jessica Walter. Film and TV star Jessica Walter passed away in March of 2021 at age 80. In recent years, the actress was best known for her comedic role on Arrested Development, which aired and was canceled in the early 2000s before being revived on Netflix in the 2010s. But Jessica started her career as a film actress decades before, with one of her most memorable roles being her turn alongside Clint Eastwood in his directorial debut, Play Misty for Me. Walter also had a long-running gig on the animated TV series Archer. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. And stick around for more celebrity deaths from 2021. Prince Philip. Prince Philip is the only royal on this list, though his death didn't come as much of a surprise. The prince had been known to be in poor health for some time, as he had been by Queen Elizabeth II's side for 6 decades and was nearly 100. Still, many were saddened by the death of the whimsical royal when he passed away in April of 2021 at age 99. Olympia Dukakis. Olympia Dukakis was 89 when she passed away in May of 2021. The beloved actress had been suffering from poor health for some time, according to her family. She remains best known for her string of critically acclaimed roles throughout the 80s, not the least of which was her turn as Cher's on-screen mother in Moonstruck. Olympia had been married to husband Louis Zorich from 1962 until his death in 2018. Charles Grodin. Charles Grodin passed away in May 2021. He was 86. He was known for his comedic performances. Some of his most classic films include Beethoven, Midnight Run, and The Heartbreak Kid. He also appeared on Broadway. It was revealed after the actor's death the cause had been bone marrow cancer. Jackie Mason. Beloved comedian Jackie Mason died in July at age 93. The comedian apparently passed away after being hospitalized for 2 weeks. Though friends, family, and fans were sad to see him go, he had accomplished a great deal throughout his decades-spanning career. He remains best known for his stand-up comedy, which he shared with the world via his numerous television appearances. One of the shows he appeared on the most was The Ed Sullivan Show. Charlie Watts. Just as the Rolling Stones were preparing to go on tour, their drummer sadly passed away. Charlie Watts, who'd been drumming for the band since they became famous, passed away in August at age 80. The band was incredibly disheartened by the news, but they have since gotten themselves together and are planning on making the dates of their tour, which may be their last. Norm Macdonald. Former Saturday Night Live star and stand-up comedian Norm Macdonald passed away in September. The comedian was only 61 and had been keeping his battle with cancer a secret from all but those who knew him best. Norm rose to prominence hosting Weekend Update on SNL, a job which he performed to immense acclaim from 1994 to 98. Norm is still regarded as one of the best to ever do that gig, though he ended up being fired from the show after getting on the bad side of NBC execs. After he left Saturday Night Live, he broke into the film world with the movie Dirty Work. Although it underperformed at the box office, it has gained a cult following in the years since it's released. According to Norm, one of the reasons the film underperformed was that NBC executives wouldn't allow it to be advertised on their networks. In later life, Norm retained his status as a cult comedian thanks to his stand-up appearances and shows. He was still performing in the years leading up to his death. Ed Asner. The last celebrity we'll look at in this video is Ed Asner. Ed passed away in August of 2021 at age 91. Ed is another alum from the Mary Tyler Moore Show that passed away in 2021 alongside Cloris Leachman. Besides his work with Mary Tyler Moore, more modern audiences may better know him thanks to his appearances in Up and Elf. After the Mary Tyler Moore Show ended, Ed continued portraying his character from the show on his own spin-off. The sitcom titled Lou Grant was named after the character. Now it's time to hear from you. Which of these celebrity deaths hit the hardest for you? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.